Hello, Sergeant. Good to see you. Good to see you. Too bad you missed out the other day. I don't know why it didn't announce it for you. That's weird. Sometimes YouTube be funny. Alright, I think we're all set up here. Let me get my noise canceling on. Oh, it's on. Interesting. Something's up with my... I cannot hear myself well. So. Test. Test it. That's better. It's one of the settings on my headset. I can get more feedback of myself or less. If I don't hear myself, I cannot gauge it. I'll get track of R stuck in my head. Alright. Let us finish flight planning here. I think we're all set. But good to see you, Sergeant. Let's go ahead. That's done. Don't need that window anymore. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll... Alright, I actually need to look at the game. They're taking off and landing. Let's see. He is landing at LaGuardia, so we're actually going to be taking off of... so we're going to go 3-1. Yeah. So, alright, we gotta take off a different runway. They're not taking off of 2-2. Take off of 1-3. And then Depacho, get out of here. Make that a departure gate. We're going to Milwaukee. Milwaukee, it means the good land. If you've ever seen Wayne's World. How is that doing what it's doing? That's weird. We're gonna take the south leg anyway, so let's take that south leg. That's better. Okay, and then we'll depart off of one of these gates. Alright, that still looks good. Alright, that's good. I probably have to fix some stuff. And then Milwaukee, we're going to go ahead. We'll do the GoPack 3 all, and then we'll let it stay, keep it as automatic, so if it has to change runways. 360 still good in there. Fuel look good still. Yeah, fuel's fine. Let's quickly switch over to Navigraph. Discord should be in the bio. There, I'm not sending out yet. My Discord's in the bio. So you can click on that, but I don't send anything. It's a little bit of a weird message. So if you are a real person, just go ahead to the to my about Captain Carkles. There's a link in there. All right. Let's see. What was I doing? Okay, let's go to Navigraph. All right. Start planning out a Navigraph here. So let's unload that. Let's go KLGA-KMKE. Let's see. Oh, new flight. That'd be why. All right. LaGuardia. Right, 1-3. Departure. What did we put in? What do we have for a departure there? Nothing's 5. Alright, nothing's 5, assault, transition, that looks right. Let's just verify it. That looks like assault right there, that's good. Alright, then our next waypoint after that's going to be Vallo, V-A-L-L-O. Okay, Vallo. After assault. Alright, then it looks like we're probably going J64, so let's go back and look. So Vallo all the way up through Watson. Let's kind of follow that through and see. Bernie, Quorum, Fowls. Seppen. Try to see where Milwaukee is. Milwaukee is up here, so. I lost the jetway. 64 right here. Casio. Goner. FWA. Goner, whatever it is. Wet. And that's Milwaukee right there. Alright, so let's see if we go to Fort Wayne. And Wet. Watson, Nolan, no. So what are we going after that? Alright. See if we go up through Fowls. That's Fort Wayne right there. See if Goner is on there. Right there, Goner. I saw Seppen already. Goner we're looking for. Nolan. Goner's got to be more over here. We got Fowls there. Quorum. Bernie, Quorum, Alley, Fowls. Bernie, Quorum, Alley, Fowls. Find where the hell is Bernie. Right, there's Bernie. Quorum. Alley. Okay, so we switch over to Q62. Okay. That's what's going on there. Right. Vowels. Seppen is definitely on there. Yeah, so we're on Q62. Alright, that makes Dutson. Where do we go all the way up to? We got Weaver, Nolan, Dave, Watson. Okay, there's it right there. So that's pretty much it all the way. So, okay. So let's see. Just, I think Pusker there too. Fowles, Serpent, Pusker, Weaver, Nolan, Dave, and Watson. Okay, yep. That's all in there. All right. Pusker. Jekka's not on there. Weaver. Nolan. And then Dave and Watson. Then we go off route after that. Alright, and then we're from Watson. Where are we going? Watson looks like the beginning of the arrival at Leiden. Okay. Let's grab the arrival. Milwaukee, the good land. Arrival, and then go pack 3, and then it was Leiden. Right there. Alright, so that will get us what we need there, and then I can check the route. So let's just double check it. So we're going to be going to Assault, and then we're going off route to Valo. It's going to be, I'll just do Valo, J64 Bernie, and then we'll go on to, is this, where's the airway start? I can't see the airway with this on. Shit. It was Q something. I can't see it anymore. Shit. What was it? Q64? I think it's Q64. No, it wasn't Q64. Let's try deleting this real quick. There was that. Corn. And find it. Corn right here. Shit. I'm trying to see the airway. What airway is that? After burn. Oh, there, I just saw it. Okay. Q62. Alright, Q62. All right, so it's going to be Valo. It's going to be Assault Valo to Bernie, then Bernie Q62 all the way to Watson. Okay. All right, so that looks good. Let me double check, make sure stuff doesn't get screwed up. So the game is wanting to do. So we're going from the gate. We're going around runway 13. That's all the way in. We're good. We're going the south route. Going to Milwaukee, 22017. I don't have, let's quickly check the weather. That's one of the things I wanted to do. Alright, and where the hell's the weather on here? I always forget the weather link. Let's see. Says it's VFR right now, so let's go without alternating. I'll stick one in there later if I need to. All right, that looks good. Let's go ahead and get it going. So Ufertavi sent me a link to a little short video about the new Flightsim, and it actually looks like they're doing some better stuff with flight planning. That's a cool pick. LaGuardia. Come on, give it to her. I'm trying to quickly grab the screenshot, and it fucked it up. See if we can let it go through again and get the screenshot. I don't think it goes back to the airport view again, which is unfortunate. That's fuck off. Missed the picture. I like to have these templates. Yeah, I missed it. Didn't press fast enough. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's turn off track IR. I gotta align it anyway. Alright, we'll go cold and dark. Give me a little bit of a longer flight. It's about 2 hours and change. I'll probably be bopping around the house doing stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and hydraulics are off, nose wheel steering is off, landing gear is down, spoilers are stowed, flaps are stowed, radars are off, ADG handle is stowed, emergency flaps are stowed, power's coming on. Alright, fire detection test. Fire detection test is good. We're checking DC, 22 volts on the APU bat. We can go ahead and we'll open the door. APU and bite built-in test equipment. SOV shutoff valve is open. APU door is open. Spinning the APU. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll go. So they're actually doing 76 seats. They've got they have first and kind of almost like a premier set of seats in there, so the seat count's a little bit lower. They have scope agreements so that you know, in the regionals there are smaller airplanes with seat constraints. Turn this music down a little bit more. We get kind of the head kicking music to start with. Alright, power's up. Alright, IRSs are coming on. Stab and mock, yaw amps. I usually have to do the yaw amps later anyway. Alright, let's go ahead, check AC, DC, hydraulics, 3A, packs, recirc fan, windshield heat and probe. Oh, go on. Windshield heat's the low, probes are on. Seatbelt signs, emergency are good and set. Alright, let's go ahead and start getting initialized here. So we're at LaGuardia. And we'll grab the GPS. And we'll go ahead and put in LaGuardia again. Going to Milwaukee, the good land. And then we are, flight number is 4924. 4924. Alright, that's all good. Alright, departure. We're going to be doing the Nothing's 5 off of runway 13. Execute that. Alright, from there, we're going to be going to... let's see, I think I'll bring up Navigraph next to me. That'll be easiest. Yeah, so I'm glad that's going in there as a better flight planning. RC, Assault. All right, and then from Assault, we're going to Valo, V-A-L-L-O. V-A-L-L-O, Valo. And then I'm just going to put in the next leg, which is Bernie. Bernie. Excuse me. Not press the B. Bernie. It's going to be the North 40. All right, after Bernie, we're going to go back to the flight plan page. We're going to find Bernie. And we're going to be taking Q62, which is a GPS airway, Q62. And from Q62, we're going to go all the way. So I don't have to put any of these waypoints in. And then we go to, what is it called? Watson. A-T-S-N. So put Watson in. And now if we look at all the legs, it's put in all those legs. So it's put in Corn, Alley, Fowl, Sepern, Pusker, Weaver, Nolan, Daft, Watson. Okay. And then we'll do arrival. And we're going to Milwaukee. And we're going to be doing the GoPack 3 off of Leiden. And then it's 220. I'm going to leave out. No, I'm going to put something in. Let's see. I'll quickly just pick a runway for now. You're using 1-9 left and 2. Let's see. That's too small of a runway. 2-5 left is long enough. So we'll expect 2-5 left for now. Who knows if we're going to get it or not. So we'll do localizer 2-5 left for now. That's fine, and we'll do vectors for now. You can always change it later. All right, back to flight plan. Perf in it. We're gonna have 76 packs. Cargo's 1075. We got like 12,000 something pounds of fuel. Let's look. We got 12,821. All right, that's good. Cruising level is flight level 360. That's all good. All right. All right, so that's all in. Go ahead, we'll do a stall test. All right, that's good. Let's go ahead and do an overheat test.
User bay, overheat.
Lamp test. Ice test. All right, that's good for now. Anything else we need? Let's grab ATIS. Let's go to ATIS.
LaGuardia Airport information, Kilo 13000 Zulu.
Jesus Christ, it keeps going into the auto spin mode. It's quite annoying.
Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 5,100 feet. Temperature 15. Dew point 10. Altimeter 30.46.
Wow, pressure's way up again.
ILS
3046.
runway 13 in use. Landing and departing runway 13. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact UF Kilo. Look.
Kilo.
Clearance delivery Delta 1749er Heavy, ready to copy IFR clearance to Kansas City. Delta 1749er Heavy is cleared to Kansas City Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 13 climb and maintain 9,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.75 squawk 2121.
Let them read back first.
Delta 1749er Heavy, cleared to Kansas City Airport is filed. Take off runway 13 climb and maintain 9,000 feet. Departure on 119.75, squawk 2121. Delta 1749er Heavy, read that correct. Contact ground on 121.85. Good day.
Clearance delivery Endeavour 49er 24 ready to copy IFR clearance to Milwaukee.
Endeavour 49er 24 is cleared to Milwaukee Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 13 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.75 squawk 7303.
Endeavour 49er 24 cleared to Milwaukee Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 13 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure on 119.75 squawk 7303.
Endeavour 49er 24, read that correct. Contact ground on 127.675. Good day.
I was putting in runway heading there. All right, runway headings in. I'll do a quick brief here. I'll be taking off runway 13. We have 7,002 feet of runway. Any emergencies before 80 knots, we'll stop the runway. Anything after 80 knots, we'll only stop for critical events. After V1, we'll go ahead and we'll handle it in the air. We'll expect left traffic back for runway 22 or 13. All right, let's look at the Nothings 5 departure. All right, so we're going to go runway heading, and then we're going to make a right turn at, what's the altitude? Climbing and heading at 134 to intercept the course 179 to cross Kiwi at or above 2,500 and at or below 220 knots, then on a track of 205 to Nothings at or above 3,000 and at or below 220 knots on a track of 230 to Canarsie at or above 5 and at or below 230 knots, then on to pick your route to Assault. Then on a track of 224 for radar vectors on course, maintain 5,000 or assigned by ATC. Expect clearance to file altitude within 10 minutes after departure. Right, so we'll pretty much follow the FMS out, but that's a good start. All right, IRS is aligned. That's good. Let's go through anything else we need. Passenger signs are on. Let's go ahead and we'll start doing pumps. We'll get ready to get out of here. All right, landing elevation. We'll just set 300 above field elevation. That looks good. Altimeters are 3046 within 75 feet of field elevation. FMS check set. IRS is aligned. Nav. Radios and nav aids set. Takeoff briefing is complete. All right, good. We're ready to push. So let's go ahead and start closing up some doors. Go to the doors page. We've got our paperwork.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Alright, and let's just quickly check trim setting here. Trim setting 6.8.
We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before takeoff,
6.8.
we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin.
Ground Endeavour 49er 24 requesting pushback.
Endeavour 49er 24 pushback request accepted.
Right, 4-star checklist, clear start checklist rather. Device off, APU is on, electric start check, takeoff data is set, doors closed, lock beacon on, fuel pumps quantities are on and set. Hydraulics are coming all to auto. Parking brake is going to be off. All right, clear to start 1. I was thinking of doing a pit, Sergeant, but the issue with the pit is I'm afraid of stuff getting stuck and glitched, and especially in a multiplayer environment. You know, I had a pit notion, but I think it's going to be problematic because if it drops down and then a build gets stuck and then it tries to come up and pushes it through, I think it's a greater chance of having it, you know, break something or cause, you know, issues. So that's why I kind of chose against the pit. That was a thought. All right, we need some fuel here. We'll taxi out on 1. We're going out to runway 13, so we don't need both of them started. Brake set. Right, 1 is up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency.
Alright, flight controls are
During an
checked.
emergency, please
AC,
remain in your seats with your seatbelts
DC,
fastened and your seats in the upright position.
hydraulics.
In
Like
case of a
status
drop in
page,
cabin
nose wheel
pressure,
steering's
breathing
coming
masks
on.
will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head.
Let me turn on track
If there is
IR.
smoke in the cabin during the evacuation
Alright, there we
of
go.
the aircraft, the walkway
See,
emergency
I gotta
lights will
fix it.
display to the
It's
exits,
off.
which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you will be instructed to get into the brace position, which is...
Alright, generators are auto, electrics are checked, bleed valves are auto, packs are on, AP is going to stay on until we get the second engine started, anti-ice is going to stay off, nose wheel steering is armed.
Ground Endeavour
Alright, after I cut this
4924 with Kilo ready to taxi IFR.
Endeavour 4924 taxi to and hold short of runway 13 using taxiway Zulu Bravo Papa cross runway 22 Papa. Contact tower on 118.7 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 13 via taxiway Zulu Bravo Papa cross runway 22 Papa Endeavour 4924.
Alright, Zulu Bravo Pop, cross 22. Alright, so slats, flaps set to 8. Flight controls are free and correct. Thrust reversers are armed. Trim is 6.8 and in the green. I'm going to go ahead and go on alpha to get around this guy. Thrust reverser arms, flight instruments are checked. Brake temperatures are checked before takeoff checklist complete. Or taxi checklist complete, rather. All right. Go around this guy on Bravo here. Got another guy coming up here. See where he goes. He's kind of stalled out there. Don't know what they're gonna do here. Oh, okay, let's see what he's doing there. What are you doing there, guy? Yeah, he's gonna cut across. I should have turned right. We'll stop.
Ground Brickyard 5643 heavy requesting pushback.
Alright, we'll switch over to Bravo now. He wanted us on Bravo.
Pushback request accepted.
You wouldn't take that in your own own hands, but also they wouldn't be sitting like that either, so. This is like the high speed this guy's coming off of, so I want to dilly-dally there and keep him locked in. I am really thrilled about the new game having actual more airplanes for static AI airplanes because like everything's an A320. That's kind of annoying. What is that Cessna taking off there? Climbing awfully fast. Yeah, I thought a pit would be cool, but I think it's going to cause more problems. What is this sitting in front of me? Is that all the way down at 2-2? I can't tell from right here.
Ground Brickyard 5643 heavy requesting the end of pushback.
They're definitely facing away from us because of the green light on the right.
5643 heavy
Looks like they're all the way at the
requesting
runway.
pushback received.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and spin 2.
Ground Delta 2730 heavy taxi to the gate.
We were cleared to cross.
2730 heavy taxi to gate Charlie 11 via taxiway Mike Alpha.
Again, they wouldn't clear you across that far out, especially if they're running that runway. They would have us hold, and then as we approach, they would clear us to cross, or we'd stop and wait, and then they clear us to cross.
5643 heavy taxi to and hold short of runway 13 via taxiway Mike
So we're
Alpha.
clear right, we're
Cross
clear
runway
straight.
4 Golf Papa. Contact tower on 118.7 when ready.
It's when you really need 2 people. Like, it's easy to get that engine started when you have a second person sitting next to you to do it. Hard to taxi and do it at the same time.
Taxiing hold short runway 13 via taxiway Mike Alpha Echo cross runway 4 Golf Papa Brickyard 5643 heavy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
Alright, starting our timer for that engine needs a minute. To go over to tower. You know, I saw that there was a guy waiting there, so that gives us enough time that we'll have a minute on the turbine before we have to go. They don't like it if you pull up to the end and you're not ready to go. Then it gets them pretty pissy. So it's too busy for that sort of shit. You gotta be ready. Like, we're 30 seconds in. I could ask
Tower
for takeoff
Endeavour
clearance now.
49er24 ready for
He's probably
departure
gonna tell us
runway
to hold short.
13 IFR to Milwaukee.
Or position hold.
Endeavour 49er24 altimeter 30.46 with 163 and 8. Traffic is Airbus A20 in on
We'll have, we only have 15 seconds left, so we're good. Toga. Like, it's too
Cleared
busy
for
to be
takeoff
doing
runway 13
one
Endeavour
person here.
49er24.
Alright, takeoff config's okay. Lights and strobes, fuel cross flow is manual. And then transponder is the last thing. Fuel cross flow is manual. Transponder is TCAS radar is off. CAS is set for takeoff checklist complete. Thrust set. Airspeed's alive. 80 knots. I didn't put in shit. Put in my speeds here. Wonky there. V1. Rotate. We're heavy, so that's why we use up so much runway. Pause rate, gears coming up. Alright, we're gonna go ahead, we'll go speed. And we'll go right to nav if I can find it. Autopilot. Alright. I don't want to miss the turn for this.
Endeavour 49er24 contact Newark departure on 119.75. Good day.
This is gonna get busy real fast here. I gotta get
Endeavour
moving.
5267 ready for departure runway
Gotta go
13
direct
IFR to Savannah. Endeavour 5267 line up and wait.
119.75 Endeavour 49er24. Goodbye.
Line up and wait Endeavour 5267.
Newark departure Endeavour 49er24 is passing 2,600 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
Endeavour 49er24 Newark departure altimeter 30.46 radar contact. Continue to Kiwi. Endeavour 49er24 keep speed not above 220 knots.
Keep speed not above 220 knots Endeavour 49er24.
I never shut the APU down, but that's okay. You can do it in the air. We used to, it was procedure before when I was at the other airline to, you leave that APU on until you were
Endeavour 49er24 climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
in the climb out, and then it changed to shutting it off before you got...
Climb and maintain 14,000
got off
feet
the
Endeavour
ground.
49er24.
Because we had to have a certain number of generators going. So, and I think they approved it for fewer generators. JFK will be coming up here. Probably too close to it to see it. You know if the music gets too loud? Yeah, it was like a big part of my testing with the BattleBot Arena was making sure that things were gonna not cause like glitches and stuff, because then you get into multiplayer and it can get worse.
Endeavour 49er24 contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day.
121.125 Endeavour 49er24. Goodbye.
Try not to gulp into the microphone.
New York Center Endeavour 49er24 is at 8,700 feet, climbing 14,000 feet.
Endeavour 49er24 New York Center altimeter 30.48 radar contact. Continue to assault.
Alright, climb checklist, fuel cross loads, auto bleeds, and APU are set. Thrust reversers are off, CAS is check. We got one CAS message here. So, yaw damper 2 and up. I gotta look at when the yaw dampers are actually, you're able to put them on. Sometimes I'm able to get them on. I think I might have to have the engines both running to get them on. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll figure that out. CAS is check. Climb checklist complete. You know, we have 2 yaw dampers. We have yaw damper 1 and 2 here, so one of them is on. And we could go up, we could speed up to 230 knots here.
Endeavor 49er24, contact New York Center on 118.975. Good day.
We just passed Canarsie, so we can do 230 knots.
Going to 118.975 Endeavor 49er24.
Alright, so technically we're supposed to be on heading here once we pass Assault, and then we expect a vector. So that is 13,440.
New York Center Endeavor 49er24 is passing 13,100 feet, climbing 14,000 feet.
Endeavor 49er24, New York Center altimeter 30.48 radar contact, continue.
It's going to give us an altitude.
Endeavor 49er24, climb and maintain flight level 220, keep speed not above 230 knots.
Climb and maintain flight level 220, keep speed not above 230 knots Endeavor 49er24.
I should have watched my speed, but he should have given us that altitude faster. 220, I believe is what he said. Put it in, and then I'll double check it. 220.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
Yep.
are now serving
220.
sandwiches.
Alright, so we're supposed to be on a vector, and then he's supposed to clear us on course. Let's see if, did he give us an on course? Climb, maintain 220, speed, yeah. So technically we're supposed to go out on this vector, and then he should give us a clearance on course. So if you look right here, you can see we're on a vector, a 224. So I could leave it in nav, but I'd rather put it in heading mode because then I can turn for the next course easier. You know, if I leave it like this, it's locked on that heading, and I can't just spin to turn. So if we needed to turn a little bit, I can't just do it. So that's one of the reasons why. Like, I want to go to the next waypoint here when he clears us. So it's right here, so I can spin my heading bug and start the turn. 180. Pressure's been high lately. Let's see. Alright, we can definitely speed up now.
Brickyard 5687 Heavy, contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day.
I'm gonna go ahead and go direct.
Frontier Flight 4058 Heavy is passing 6,200
Give it a couple
feet,
more
climbing
seconds, but he should be
6,700
clearing us on course. It doesn't mean the game's gonna do what it's
Frontier
supposed to
Flight
do.
4058 Heavy, New York Center altimeter 30.48 radar contact. Continue to Sierra India Echo.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna give us a turn anytime soon, so I'm just gonna do it. We'd expect a vector. They would give it to us. They would tell us, you know, cleared on course. All right, so I start the turn, and the reason I'm doing that is if I did direct, it's gonna try. It's gonna lay a course, and then it's gonna try to go in that course. I don't need to go on the course. I need to go direct. So I'm gonna turn, and then once we're headed directly there, I'll put a direct in, and then switch over to nav. We got for head 26, not headwind, not too bad.
Delta 2428 Heavy, New York Center altimeter 30.48 radar contact. Continue. Descend and maintain 11,000 feet.
All right, so now we're on course, direct to Valo. So I'm gonna go direct Valo.
Endeavor 49er24, climb and maintain flight level 320.
320, that's us.
Frontier Flight 4058 Heavy contact New York
320.
approach on 123.7. Good day.
Everything spins, like my view spins and
Delta
my
2428
and the
Heavy
knob
traffic is
spins,
6
so
o'clock 2
it's
miles at
a
3,000
pain
feet
in the
Airbus
ass.
A20 in. Report them in sight.
Alright, 320. So if it does that, go back to
New York
legs
Center,
page,
Delta 2475
go
Heavy,
Valo
3,000 feet.
vector execute. Now we're
Delta
that's the other way to
2475
go
Heavy, New York
direct.
Center altimeter
Switch the
30.48
nav.
radar contact continue. Delta 2387 Heavy contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day.
Climb and maintain flight level tree 20 Endeavor 49er24.
Going to 124.775 Delta 2387 Heavy. New York Center JetBlue 1210 Heavy 3,000 feet. JetBlue 1210 Heavy New York Center altimeter 30.47 radar contact continue. New York Center Delta 2387 Heavy is passing 9,500 feet climbing flight level 190. Delta 2387 Heavy New York Center altimeter 30.47 radar contact continue to makes.
What did I hit in the cockpit? I'm literally in another screen doing something, and it's clicking buttons in here. That screwed me the other day when I put my landing gear down.
Endeavor 5110 Heavy contact New York Center on 124.625. Good day. Endeavor 5110 Heavy. Goodbye. New York Center Endeavor 5110 Heavy is at 9,600 feet climbing 10,000 feet.
Never doesn't have any heavies there, guy.
Endeavor 5110 Heavy New York Center altimeter 30.46 radar.
I gotta see how to fix that.
continue to
I
direct.
don't have any mods on or anything that should be screwing that up, so. Game's donkey. Alright, let's go vertical
Delta
speed.
2387 Heavy contact New York approach on 120.8. Good day. Endeavor 49er24 contact New York Center on 124.625. Good day.
124.625 Endeavor 49er24. Goodbye.
Since we're a
New
little
York
on the
Center
heavy
Endeavor
side,
49er24
they've got us going
is
at a
passing flight
faster
level 270,
speed
climbing flight level tree
and a
20.
shallower climb angle to keep the energy up.
Endeavor 49er24, New York Center radar contact. Continue to follow.
So as we gain altitude, you see the max speed tape's coming down. So I gotta keep an eye on that. Because we're gonna hit max Mach before we hit max indicated. So we're just cruising at 360. That's our cruise altitude.
121, contact Washington.
Alright, so see how we're starting to lose speed?
525.
I want to try to keep that speed up, keep that energy up, so I'm going to go ahead and drop.
49er24, climb and maintain flight level 360.
360, that's the final.
Climb and maintain flight level tree 60 Endeavor 49er24.
Three 60.
Going to 1 tree, 2.5, 2
So I'm bringing the nose down a little bit here. To I want to keep my speed around there. I don't want to get slow, because especially I'm not that heavy, but I'm a little bit heavy, so I want to kind of keep the nose down and make sure I don't lose too much speed.
Going to 1 tree, 3 decimal, 150.
I'm gonna make this last 6,000 feet take 5 minutes, but it's at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth to keep the energy in.
New York Center UPS 2077 is passing 17,600 feet, climbing flight level 230. UPS 2077, New York Center radar contact continue. Brickyard 4461 heavy traffic is 5 o'clock, 2 miles at flight level 235 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight. New York Center Exejet 531 is passing 12,500 feet, climbing 13,000 feet. Exejet 531, New York Center altimeter 30.48 radar contact, continue to Eileen.
Come on, Eileen.
Brickyard
Dude, the temperature is
4461
probably pretty cold.
heavy Airbus A20N in sight.
Yeah, we're negative 45 on the SAT and negative 16
Brickyard
on the TAT.
4461 heavy traffic alert. 3 o'clock, less than 1 mile, flight level 245 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
So SAT is just, it's the temperature around the aircraft.
Brickyard 4461 heavy traffic in sight.
And, you know, so TAT takes into account, essentially, essentially you pushing through the air and heating it up as you push through it, so. That's like the actual air temperature, that's kind of what we feel is this. But if there's any moisture up here, we would get ice pretty quickly at negative 18. Usually it's about 2 degrees per 1,000 feet, so you figure at 30,000 feet you're dropping 60 degrees of whatever's on the surface. So if it was 60 degrees on the surface, it's going to be 0 at 30,000 feet. That's the standard rate, doesn't mean that's what it always is. That's just about standard. And likely we do not have to worry about overspeeding once we get up to 360. Is even at climb thrust here, we're not going to overspeed likely. The air is too thin, so we start losing quite a bit of power just from the thinness of the air. Low air density.
Delta 1 tree Papa traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 230 generic. Report them in sight. UPS 2077 traffic is 9 o'clock, 3 miles at flight level 220 Docker TBM 9. Report them in sight. Brickyard 4427 heavy contact New York Center on 132.5. Good day.
Yeah, so what I was talking about was like when you're heavy and you're climbing up here, you don't want your speed to start dropping off too much because you get in a situation where it's gonna it might be impossible for you to speed back up. So kind of saw that going, knew what my weight was, so we're kind of doing a real leisurely 1,000 foot per minute. I started that early to try to keep my my speed up. And as you can see, as we get higher and higher, this tape's going to come down more. Because the higher we are, the lower indicated airspeed is going to be to hit the Mach limit on the plane. So we'll hit the Mach limit before we hit the indicated airspeed. That's 350 for 360. So you notice that tape will come down. So before, like we're showing 340, what's look real quick. I can't remember. What's above? 335, so not quite 340, 345. And then if you look here, so these are the VMO is V is speed, so max operating speed from 8 to 25.4 is 335, and then you show here. Then it goes into Mach 0.8, 315, and then it's 0.85, 0.84. So we'll hit that Mach limit before we hit the indicator speed limit.
Endeavour 49er24, contact New York Center on 132.5. Good day.
Going to 132.5 Endeavour 49er24.
Kind of always seems amazing to me. It seems like it's taken us a long time to get where we are right now, but that engine was started 20 minutes and 51 seconds ago.
New York Center,
Clear that chronometer off.
passing 3,500 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Let me see, does it have the chronometer on there?
Altimeter 30.46 radar contact. Continue to cover VR.
On the 145, we had a chronometer button on the yoke, so you could click that and you could control your timer. It's like you'd be holding on the yoke and click it as you're running engines or starting times. Just a nice, convenient feature. So like if we look, you can see we're getting a little bit of a speed gain here, but that little pink bar is where we'll be in 10 seconds. So you see in 10 seconds we might gain half a knot. Yeah, it wasn't us.
135.45, chart right 255. Goodbye.
I think it was us.
Brickyard 46905 heavy traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at 15,200 feet, Airbus A20 end. Report them in sight. Brickyard 46905 heavy traffic in sight.
Last time I was in Milwaukee, it was snowing like crazy, and we were on short final, and he cleared the plows to all across the runway. We had to go around.
New York Center UPS 2077 is passing flight level 335, climbing flight level 360. UPS 2077 New York Center radar contact continue.
Alright, go ahead and let the people walk. It's the wrong one. I'll start smoking. Go to ground speed. We got a little bit of a headwind, so we're only doing 436 knots across the ground. We got a 45 knot headwind. Still nothing to sneeze at, but it's that headwind takes a toll. I might let ATC loop out for a second and use the facilities. They made it reasonable where you can go back and get pick up your earlier clearance. Very interested in seeing what the major is going to be. I've been seeing a lot of hype videos. That's not my style. I'm not a fan of them, but you know, people can do whatever they want, of course. I just don't get the point. Like hyping things up and making predictions and everything else. It's like, I think sales is probably likely for the next major update, but again, we'll find out tomorrow. So it's like, I'm not gonna make a video personally of, is it gonna be sales? Is it gonna be this? Oh my God, big changes, this coming, and like put in hype thumbnails that makes it look like, you know what it's gonna be. Because part of the problem too is I see all the time that you get people in the community saying, oh, well, this person said it was sales. No, they didn't. They had a video that they put a hype headline in there to get more clicks and views, you know, and it's, they take that as gospel. They don't actually like read the words, or it's like, you know, and then people build up expectations for things that will never be lived up to no matter what. So it's like, I just kind of sit back and relax and be like, oh, we'll see what it is tomorrow. And instead of being disappointed because it doesn't have the 200 features you invented in your head, you're happy that it has the 10 features that it actually has, you know, so kind of why I don't do any of that hype bullshit. Let's see when our next frequency changes. So one cool thing with Navigraph is, I'll show you that. It almost looked like they worked with Navigraph because it looked very much like Navigraph's thing here. So if you look here, as we cross Bernie, we're going to go from New York Center to Cleveland Center. And then we don't cross, we cross into Toronto Center at some point. And then here we go from Cleveland to Chicago. So now we never get high enough. That must just be a sector change out that we just got. That's not a center handoff.
134.8 Endeavor 49er24. Goodbye. New York Center Endeavor 49er24.
You know, Flightsim used to be quite annoying because it was hard to pick up your flight plans.
Endeavor 49er24 New York Center radar contact. Continue to follow.
You know, so like, especially if you're going to be like, I used to do long flights, like 4-hour flights, and so back in the day with the old Flightsim, and so it's nice that you could leave and go AFK and come back, you know, and so like with this is much better with that. Is you know, I can go AFK, they'll cancel my flight plan, I just leave it running, and then I come back and grab the old flight plan, you know. Makes it reasonably easy to just go do IRL stuff and makes the game more playable. Yeah, I'm hoping that's what it is, Sergeant. You know, again, you'll get people, they'll hang on words, they'll dissect words, and like, I look at it to a certain extent. Like, here, let's look at it a little bit. You know, like I said, I don't like doing too much hype stuff, but like, if you look, for example, next week we're announcing the major update Stormworks. This is going to be a very important announcement. It's hard to know exactly how big the impact will be, but I expect to potentially create a new era in Stormworks. So like, you know, one thing too is like when people dissect this stuff, you know, it's kind of like numerology where people like, oh, and then the number's 14, and 14 stands for 1492, and it's like, you know, a bunch of that bullshit is, people hang on these words. Like, how many times have you said words and like you weren't trying to be that specific, you just picked a word, and then of course like when it's something like this, people like, you know, let's see, era, You know, so some people were hanging off the word era. Could they have chose era very specifically to talk about how it's going to be like an old era, like, you know, back during sales? And that's the hint for sales. And that's what some people are saying, like, oh, it's going to be a new era. They use the word era because they're talking about a previous era where sales were the norm. Yeah, that could be the case, but again, you don't have any evidence of that. And then, like, for example, somebody's like, oh, that's a hint, they put a sailboat on. Could the devs have said, hey, it's going to be sales, let's put a hint that it's sales? They could, absolutely, 100%. But also, there's a helicopter here and a train, so it's confirmation bias. Is that person likely wants sales? So they globbed onto that is likely an announcement that it's sales, ignoring the, you know, 2/3 of the other pictures. 2/3 of the other pictures, if that was indicative of what the update's going to be, does not show it sales. So they're, again, taking the 1/3 that shows that it could be sales. You know, and then, like, you go to previous weeks before announcements of majors. DLC tagged, update. Back from that. Pot and line fishing. Is that the that's more info on pot and line. I'm trying to find the announcement before. Pot and line major update. You know, like, so if you go through, like, some of the earlier talks about what upcoming release dates, like, for example, like, this is showing upcoming release dates, next major update. So they're announcing the next major update right there, right? Well, does this have anything to do with crabbing? Does this have anything to do with crabbing? So, again, I think, like, then this. So, like, people say, well, the week before they had a sailboat, so it must be sales. And people have been doing this forever, and it's just like, it's essentially you keep throwing shit against the wall until something sticks, and it's like, I just find that tiring and kind of silly. And so it's like, guess what? You'll find out in, you know, at the time of posting this, you'll find out in a week's time. And I'm with Sargent. I would much rather if they did a whole new era of mechanical parts, like, for example, PTO shafts, hydraulics, pneumatics. That would be much, you know, more important to me than sales. But I also understand sales was on the poll. They're trying to get through all the poll. It's fair to the people who voted for that to eventually get it. It's one of the last things on there. It was one of the, like, the top.
4924 traffic is 11 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 360 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Where the hell is he? Stand by, I got traffic.
8783 traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 360 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Why is he at 360 going east?
Endeavour 4924 have the Airbus A20N in sight.
Endeavour 4924 traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 340 Cessna Skyhawk.
It's not a Cessna Skyhawk, dude. Cessna Skyhawk can't be up this high. Or 360.
8783 have the traffic.
Yeah, so that's what I would like. And that's the other thing people do is, like, I'm not saying Sargent's doing this, but, like, for example, like, if I want mechanical parts, which I would much rather have for the next major update, I would be like, oh, it's mechanical parts, you know, and, like, essentially it's called wish thinking. You're wishing, you know, you think something is because you wish it were to be. It's like people who talk about manifesting, like, oh, if I think it will be that thing, it'll be that thing. Of course, that's, you know, superstitious nonsense, but yeah, that's not how it works. You know, and so personally, I just wait. Like, I'll be very interested. And the other thing too is, like, a lot of people, like, they don't want to have a surprise. Like, it's cool to have a surprise. Like, it's going to be cool tomorrow when we actually find out what it is.
Cleveland
you know?
Center, Endeavour 4924
And if you kind of left yourself
360.
open to it, again, you're getting something for free. You've already paid for the game. You're not being asked to pay anything additionally, and you're getting something for free. And so even if it's not something you want, like for me, like, I'm not a huge fan of sales. I'll play with them a little bit, but I'm not going to use them that much, if that's what it is. But if it's sales, I'm going to be happy that something new got added to the game. If I was super hyped up that it's going to be this one thing that I've always wanted, with, you know, mechanical parts and PTO shafts and XYZ and, you know, a million things that I've always wanted to be, and then we get sales, well, I'll be let down because it's not the thing that I hype myself up about. So that's why I tend not to do that, you know. Let me read some of the chat. I would love more advanced parts and mechanical stuff. That would be great. I think the problem with that is, you know, they did the poll. They've been doing all the stuff in the poll. Sales was higher on the poll than other things. And I think the backlash of the sail community, like personally, I don't see why so many people want sails. Like, sails is something I would use on maybe one vessel and never build it again. Like, even some of the people who want sails would build like one sail ship and never build sails again. You know, a lot of the same people complain about how slow their ship is. Like, how fast do you think a sailboat's gonna go, dude? You know, it's like sailboat's gonna go incredibly slow, you know, and it's gonna feel like it takes forever, and like you're not gonna be able to do a rescue mission effectively in a sailboat, you know, so it's gonna be puttering around, you know, more than anything, which is fine. That's cool for a lot of people. I know a lot of people love that, but you know, I don't think it has a huge longevity to it, you know. No, it doesn't come out tomorrow. It's gonna be announced tomorrow. Yes, they already did. They already, you know, accidentally revealed motorcycle parts. So that was kind of one thing that makes me think that it's something like that. But like from what I saw, what did they have for motorcycle parts? Wasn't it just the handlebars? Because you would think for a motorcycle you would want more wheels, like centralized.
49er24, contact Cleveland Center on 128.45. Good day.
Cleveland.
128.45 Endeavor 49er24. Goodbye.
Like new era could, like, again, I don't want to dig into it too much, but like for example, we got a thermoelectric cooler last week. Could we now have survival mechanics? You know, Deltar said he loves survival mechanics, and that would be cool, and a lot of people showed support for a survival mechanic. Could that be considered new era? It's like, again, it's all, a lot of it ends up turning into wish thinking and like just thinking out loud, which is great, but I would much rather personally hear what it's going to be tomorrow, and then great, you know. All right, I'm gonna go use the facilities. If my ATC gets canceled, I'll just grab it back in. I'll be back.
Endeavor 49er24, contact Cleveland Center on 126.725. Good day. Endeavor 49er24, acknowledge last transmission. Endeavor 49er24, did you hear my last transmission? Endeavor 49er24, did you hear my last transmission? Endeavor 49er24 IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Good day.
Alright, back. Let's go ahead and grab ATC again.
Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 is typed 3 miles southeast of Papa November 84 flight level tree 60. Request flight following.
Endeavor 49er24 Cleveland Center. Squawk 0712. Endeavor 49er24 radar contact 2 miles south of Papa November 84 flight level tree 60.
Roger Endeavor 49er24. Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 2 miles southwest of Papa November 8 for request IFR to Milwaukee ready to copy.
Endeavor 49er24 is cleared to Milwaukee Airport as filed. Squawk 0712.
Yeah, that's one thing they did do good for this version of the game is making it easy to get back on your flight plan. What is up with music? It's over? Why didn't... Oh, it's on the end of the list. Okay, we'll start.
Endeavor 49er24, please acknowledge.
I thought I did.
Endeavor 49er24 cleared to Milwaukee Airport as filed. Squawk 0712.
Delta 2 Tree 7 Heavy contact Cleveland Center on 128.15. Good day. Endeavor 49er24 read back correct. Radar contact flight level tree 60. Continue to Kiwi turning and following heading 100 descend and maintain flight level tree 60. Keep speed not above 220 knots.
What?
128.15 Delta 2 Tree 7 Heavy.
Why would I slow down at 220 knots?
Continue to Kiwi turning and following heading 100 climb and maintain flight level tree 60. Keep speed not above 220 knots. Endeavor 49er24.
What the fuck is this? This can't be above.
Endeavor 49er24 contact Cleveland Center on 128.
Yeah, it's trying to start me over on the flight plan. What the fuck, man? Screw. It just
Going to
the game's
128.15 Endeavor 49er24.
It wants me to go all the way back to Kiwi, which is the first part off of LaGuardia.
Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
I hope this doesn't screw it all up.
Endeavor 49er24 Cleveland Center
There we
radar
go.
contact. Continue to FALS.
Okay, good. It's fixed itself now. It's got me going to fouls now. Just brain rot on the game. Alright, let's read some chat. I've been catching up with chat. Yeah, people are going to complain about sailboats capsizing because they don't know how a sailboat works. They don't know you need to build a weighted keel. You know, you're going to get this all. You get this all the time. People ask for more realism, and then they don't understand how things realistically work, but they think they do because they saw one in a picture once, and then they complain, and you're like, "That's how it really works." And they're like, "Oh, that's how it really works." It's like, yeah, dude, just go do a Google search for 2 minutes, like how sailboats work, and you'll learn some things, you know. But some of those people, you know, just, you know, they're lazy and they don't look anything up. Yeah, like I took sailing lessons when I was a kid. You know, it was.
Delta 2 Tree 7 Heavy contact Cleveland Center on 120.775. Good day. Endeavor 49er24 contact Cleveland Center on 120.775. Good day.
120.775 Endeavor 49er24. Goodbye.
120.77.
Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er24 Cleveland Center radar contact. Continue to FALS.
You know, like, so looking at like some basics of sailboats, you know, you're gonna have a lot of people who like just completely confused because they don't understand anything. Like, all they think is it's a boat that you still steer like a regular boat. Like, you don't have to manage the sails, and you do. You know, like, you have a keel, often weighted keel. Centerboard helps with longitudinal stability. You know, often they'll pour lead in the keel to keep the boat upright because the mast is trying to, and the mast and the sails are trying to tip the boat over. So by having a symmetrical hydrofoil there, you're keeping the boat more stable. It doesn't want to move, into the direction of the mast, getting blown over. You know, you have different positioning for your sails. You have to understand, like, for example, you can't sail into the wind. You have to tack and you have to jibe into the wind, through the wind, so that you keep ample wind on your sails. It's going to take a very long time if you have a headwind to try to get toward that headwind, because you're going to have to tack and jibe all the time to keep going there. You're not going to be able to allow your sail to luff, you know. So it's a lot of stuff like that that I think a lot of people are not banking on. You know, like, are we going to get spinnakers, you know, stuff like that. You know, so it's just like understanding some of the basics where, like, here's points of sail. You know, put this image in a new tab, make it not annoying. But, like, here's the no sailing zone. So if you're going into the wind, you can't sail directly into the wind. So you have to go up this way and then tack across and tack and jibe, tack and jibe, tack and jibe, you know. And it shows you how you want your sails to be when you're going, for example, away from the wind. Like on a run, you want your sail all the way out to give you the biggest surface area to push you, you know. And so, like, that's where, like, a lot of people who ask for realism don't understand. It has to be gamified, because a lot of people are going to have no clue what the hell they're doing, you know. Yeah, ooh, windmills would be neat. Or wind turbines, yeah. I'll be back again. Actually, I can do it right here. But yeah, so, like, you're gonna get a bunch of people again. You're gonna have some people who are sail aficionados who know a lot about sailing who are gonna complain that it's not realistic enough, and you're gonna get people who don't know anything about sailing who are gonna be like, oh my god, I'm trying to sail towards FJ Warner and I can't. Like, the sailboat won't even move. Well, where's the wind coming from? Well, how do I know where the wind's coming from? Put a wind indicator on there. Put a flag. Put something. You know? You put a wind indicator on there, you'll know where the wind's coming from. Then what are they gonna say? Oh, it's coming directly from FJ. Well, you're not going there. You have to go off course, off the wind. You can't sail into the wind. That's what's powering you. You can't go against it. You know, so it's stuff like that where, you know.
Endeavour 4924 traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 335 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
No joy.
Endeavour 4924, don't have Airbus A20N in
Yeah,
sight.
so that's my prediction if it is sales. Like, a lot of the questions you're gonna get, stuff like that, you know. Which is fine if people have just questions, but, like, a lot of those people just get, like, they quickly assume that it is the game's fault, not their own lack of understanding of these things, and that's what kind of annoys me. Is it's like, assume that you don't know what's going on first, and then go do a little research. And then if it comes up, yeah, it looks like that's wrong, then show your research. Be like, hey, I looked this up. I don't think this is right. What do you guys think? You know. Yeah, because, like, you get tons of people who talk about all the bugs and storm arcs, and it's things working like they should work. Like, it's people's, you know, sometimes they're misunderstanding. Like, people don't understand the torque off a propeller. If you have a propeller on an airplane turning right, the airplane is going to turn left. Right? That's a torque effect. We don't have P factor because we don't have propeller wash in game.
Goodbye.
But, you know, imagine if we had propeller washing game. People would be like, oh, I'm taking off in my airplane, and it always wants to turn, left. Like, something's got to be wrong with the game. It's like, no, they have left turning tendencies. You need right rudder on takeoff. Like, that's one of the things you learn your first day of flight school is, you know, how to, you know, as you take off, you put in right rudder, you know. But people would say that's a bug with the game. It's like, no, that's what's supposed to happen. You know, there's a reason why people who do these things for a living, it takes a long time for them to get the qualifications to do them. You know, why they have to do a lot of training, and recurrent training is, there's a lot to it, you know. There's a reason why you don't just show up one day and get a job flying jets, you know. You spend years and years training to do it, is because there's a lot to it. What we got here? We got about 55 minutes en route. You know, sales would definitely be interesting. Again, just I would. Split cap's still on. I much prefer some other stuff than that, but you know, again, that's what it should be. You know, like it or not, they had a poll. People voted. The devs are trying to give people what they wanted. I think it's a good strategy. Is ask the community what they want, get votes, and then build it. Because again, of course, you're going to get some of the same old tired people in the community who go, well, that poll is old, and what's that matter? It takes a long time to do these things. They polled it, you know, they said, essentially the poll was, hey, what would you like us to do in the next 5 years? You know, essentially, it wasn't 5 years ago, but like, what would you like us to do in the next 5 years? Yeah, of course, opinions are going to change, things that people want change over 5 years, but that's irrelevant. It's like, you know, you voted for president. You know the president's going to be in there for a 4-year term, and you go, well, I didn't want them to do this. Well, you voted them in office, and this is the person you voted for. You're stuck with them for those 4 years, you know. And it's the same thing with this poll. You voted for things in the poll, or people voted for things in the poll. That's what's on menu until, you know, it's done or there's a new poll. You know, so I think it would be smart for them to do another poll. You know, I think it's good cover from a business perspective for them, where when you get, like, for example, you keep seeing people go, nobody wanted space. And it's so easy for me to disprove that because I just pull up the poll and it was voted for. And then they go, it's like they follow a little guidebook. Then they go, well, more people wanted sales. Yeah. And they said they worked on sales. They worked on sales before they worked on space. And they said they were not happy with the results, and they may come back. You know, they've already addressed that. You know, you missed it, but they already addressed that, you know. So it's, I think it's good cover for them, because like when people say nobody wants this, what they're saying is I didn't want this, so you should only do what I want, which is absurd. And so by having a poll, it's easy to say, hey, we polled the community. You all had an opportunity to vote. If you didn't vote, you really have no leg to stand on. And this is what the community voted for, and we've been doing what the community wanted. And so, like, when people say, devs, why didn't you do something we actually want? They are. It was voted on. Just because it's not what you want doesn't mean that it's not what others wanted and was voted for. So I think it's a smart idea to do a poll, because it locks it in. It shows a snapshot in time of what people have asked for. And there's really, it's hard to be taken serious when you're arguing nobody wanted it, when it's literally on a poll, you know.
Endeavor 4 Niner, 24 contact Cleveland Center on 127.9er. Good day.
So I think it was a smart idea for them to do that.
127.9er.
And eventually when they get through the whole poll, which I think sales is probably the last actual thing on the poll, because like some of the things are contradictory, like, you know, no to something that's was voted for yes, and some things are just like not going to come. Then they, I think they should run another poll. I think they should do a feed poll where they say, hey, these are the 10 things we are thinking of putting in our game. Vote on them. You know, I think that's a better strategy, because they can kind of control it. They know where the guardrails are, where the game can and should go, where they want it to go. You know, also they might want certain things in the polls that are going to be for major updates, certain things are going to be minor updates, certain things that are going to be DLCs. And so they can kind of feed in like, okay, well, you know, we want 2 more DLCs. We need to put in 4 things that could be DLCs. We want to put in 5 things that could be minor updates, 4 things that could be major updates, and they'll let people vote for it. You know, I think that's a good strategy.
Southwest 247 Niner Heavy Cleveland Center radar contact. Continue to Foxtrot Whiskey Alpha.
See what Milwaukee's weather is currently. Milwaukee, the good land. Alright, current METAR is 22017, 10 statute miles, scattered 15,000, broken at 25,000, temperatures 2-1, dew point is 1-3, altimeter is 2983.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Cleveland Center on 134.9er.
349er,
Good
sir.
day.
134.9er Endeavor 49er24. Goodbye. Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er 24 Cleveland Center radar contact. Continue to PSKUR.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we should go right over Chicago. Actually, we're gonna more go over Flint. Yeah, we're going more over Flint. We're going around Chicago. Get the shot here. Yeah, exactly. You know, there's this thing with games where, like, I get it. Like, a lot of people are just going in there to quote unquote relax, and they don't want to, like, they don't have to learn too much. I get that. They want to shut their brain off after a long day at work, or trolling in their basement. You know, also, like, part of it is too, like, especially with simulator games, like, a lot of people are trying to actually, like, oh, learn how to do a thing, and
Endeavor 49er 24, please acknowledge.
yeah.
127.9er Endeavor 49er24.
Cleveland Center is like
Goodbye.
every 2 inches. I gotta go get a new frequency change.
Cleveland Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er 24 Cleveland Center radar contact. Continue.
You know, like, say for example, somebody always wanted to be a truck driver, right? So they always wanted to be a truck driver, and they went a different way, and so they come home and they, you know, their job is stressful and it's very intellectual, where they're friggin', they get a headache after. Like, all they have to do is make decisions all day and thinking, and so they get home and they jump on American Truck Sim, and they get to just cruise and listen to music and listen to podcasts and YouTube videos they've been trying to catch up on, and maybe put a show in the background and listen to it and just hang out. You know, and that's why those games are so popular, is, you know, they always want to be a truck driver, and it's something relaxing, and, you know, as somebody who was a truck driver, it's very relaxing to do, and you know, kind of just cruise and chill out, and you know, and you can listen to some podcasts and do stuff like that. And you know, you've got people who've always wanted to be pilots who either they couldn't be, or they chose another path, and they get to go on Flightsim. They get to do that. And, you know, like, it would be so cool to be like a tugboat captain. So, like, in Stormworks, I like to do that sort of stuff, and so it's cool to be able to do those things, you know. And like, one thing I've talked about before, it's the complexity and the difficulty about something that makes it rewarding. So if something's too easy, it's boring as shit. Like right now, this is a boring phase of flight. Is literally sitting on autopilot, just sitting here doing not much, you know, and that's pretty boring. And so, you know, but it's a good time where you get to relax. And then, so, like, my favorite phases of flight are takeoff and landing, approaches. I like doing SIDS and stars. It's much more interactive. I like doing some hand flying. But it's also, like, if you were doing that for 2 hours solid, you'd be exhausted, you know. And so the autopilot is a great way to keep you from getting exhausted. So
Going
even
to
those two
135
pilots, you'd be
decimal, 1
exhausted
Endeavour,
hand flying the whole way.
49er24.
Like I used to hand fly every once in a while. I'd hand fly
Cleveland
from
Center,
like
Endeavour, 49er24,
New York to
flight level
Boston.
360.
And it wasn't a bad hand flight, but it was, you know, an hour, and it gave both of us more work to do, and that was about all you wanted to do, was an hour hand flight. That's all you wanted to do. You know, I'd kick off the autopilot early on the approach, hand fly the approach, you know, keeps your skills up as a feel in the airplane. But, yeah, that's what, like in Stormworks, you see a lot of people, they try to automate everything, or they try to make... Fuck me, Cleveland Center. Jesus Christ. Every 2 seconds, a frequency change.
Going to 128.625.
I need to look at the sectors off Cleveland Center. This is nuts. We get a frequency change every like less than a minute.
Cleveland Center, Endeavour, 49er24, flight level 360.
Endeavour 49er24, Cleveland Center, radar contact continue.
Austin. You know, so it's like, doing too much automation, it's like the whole point of the game is for you to be like in Stormworks or in Flight Sim is like for you to fly, for you to operate your vehicles in Stormworks. And when you like automate everything, it's like, I find it so boring. It's like, you know, you get in your airplane and you just click it here or there and you let it go, and then you go in your ship and you click here or there and you let it go, and you don't get any of that accomplishment of, oh, I had a nice landing because I've been practicing. You know, I've had a, you know, I docked well because I've been practicing, you know. And that's where the real, I think, sense of accomplishment comes from. You know, it's like IRL, when you go have a really good landing and you land right on the aiming bars and it's perfect and it's beautiful, you get a sense of accomplishment. If you let the autopilot, like, there are auto lands, but like, if you sat there and let the auto land do it on certain planes, like, there's no sense of accomplishment. You didn't do anything. You just sat there and monitored, you know. You know, it's like people in Star Citizen keep asking for like, oh, we want, you know, they have some auto land, but it's like they want more automated stuff. And it's like, dude, you're already saying like, you're going to be so bored. Like, you know, these are the same people who get bored that they have to ride the tram for 2 minutes. It's like, you know, they want everything to happen instantly. Well, it's like, you know, you lose sense of scale. You lose sense of grandeur by having everything take 2 seconds, you know. Star Citizens and mired in controversy again as usual. Oh, that game, what a mess.
Cleveland Center, Southwest.
We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and brief the arrival. We're a little ways away from the arrival, but we'll be there soon enough. You can see leading is the beginning of the arrival. All right, so here's the GoPack. What was it? GoPack 3. Buddy, little break here. Cat's all over my business. All right, we're coming in here off Leiden. So we're going Leiden to Mooper to Dedi, Moser, Trudeau. We expect to be at 250 knots at Trudeau. Narf, GoPack, Pale. All right. And then from GoPack on a track of 075 to Tail, then on a track of 075. Expect radar vectors to final approach course. So after Tail, we'll stay on a 075 and we'll expect vectors. So I don't know what they're using presently. Let's look. So it looks like that's what they're using is 25 left. So like, let's grab the airport info here. So 25 left is actually going the opposite direction. Let those vectors around, it's fine. I think we're coming into one left when they crossed the, yeah, I think we're coming into one left that night where it was snowing. and then they had plow trucks on Mike, and they cleared them to cross as we were coming in on one left, and we had to go around, and then we had to go all the way around again. So they cleared the plow trucks to cross right in front of us. But we have 8,300 feet of runway. If we do land on 25 left, we expect probably Alpha 3, maybe Alpha 1 into the gates. Yeah, it's kind of weird going in this way. This is what the game suggested because that's going this way, so we're going opposite, but they'll vector us around. The real flight, let's bring that up. The real flight, as you can see, they went up over the lake and then came in this way, so there likely isn't 25 left. I should have switched the arrival, but I didn't think of it. Not a big deal. They'll reroute us as necessary. And then I don't know what approach we're going to get yet, so we'll see when we get there. You know, I think if we do the RNAV Yankee, that will, you know, RNAV Yankee will take us into 25 left, and that's, I think, from this arrival. So that's a good chance we get something like that. We'll see. They haven't given us a frequency change in the last 10 seconds.
Endeavour 49er24 contact Cleveland Center on 120.45. Good day.
Going to 120.45 Endeavour 49er24. Cleveland Center Endeavour 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavour 49er24 Cleveland Center radar contact. Continue to an Orland N.
Cat's bringing me something, he's screaming at me. Trying to bargain. It's like, more treats. I brought you one of my children. Switch into a Chicago Center here soon.
Endeavour 49er24 contact Chicago Center.
That's hilarious.
127.55. Good day.
Good call, huh? Oh, that was great.
127.55 Endeavour 49er24. Goodbye.
I was looking at Navigraph, but
Chicago
we're still,
Center,
it's
Endeavour
not till after
49er24
Nolan that
flight
we
level
get
tree
the
60.
handover on there.
Endeavour 49er24 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to Dave.
Dave. Look at all that farm. Look at all that good farmland. I would love to have a farm. That's like, for example, I would love to like do the work of farming. Like I love operating tractors. Cutting, baling has always been very interesting to me. Running combines, planting, spraying, all that stuff is interesting to me. But don't live in an area of the country that don't have any family that owned a farm, so you end up working for somebody else. You don't make much money, so that's like farming sim is fantastic for that. Is those of us who love running the machinery can go do that and have other jobs, you know, and that's what's really cool with a lot of the simulator games that I like. So this airport down here. I'm interested in the new farming sim. We got a lot of new sim games going on. There's Fort Wayne, Indiana. I have been to Fort Wayne. I went to the airport, I went to the hotel, and then I went back to the airport, and then I left. Like, not to knock Fort Wayne, of course, but like, often you go someplace like that and you don't have a long overnight, and there's really not a ton to do. Like, you go to a restaurant, you know, I don't go to bars, but you know, go to a restaurant or something, that's about it. Like you see, there's not much around, there's a lot of farmland, you know, but I'm sure there are some cool places there, but a lot of times you don't have that long of an overnight. First time I was in the airlines, you didn't have any money, so you had a lot of student loans, didn't make a lot of money, and so it's like couldn't really go do anything. You didn't have the cash to go do anything, you know. Couldn't afford to, you know, get a ride to go do something. Like if you're in the middle of a city that you can walk around, you know, that's nice. You can go walk around. Like I love Knoxville. Knoxville is great. Because like I could walk from the hotel, walk all around. I could go get breakfast. I could just go, you know, I went for a long walk just looking around the city, and that was really nice. Yeah, it was a long overnight on that. You know, you start having to pay for cabs, and then you're paying for food, and it's just like it starts getting expensive fast. Unlike somebody who's on vacation, you're doing this multiple times every week, you know, so it's, you can't really afford to be doing too much of that shit. Still no Halloween event in Tarkov. I'm wondering with, like, you know, a bunch of the streamers have been calling that out. I wonder if they're doing it for a weekend event. Let's see what the calendar looks like.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Chicago Center on 133.9er. Good day.
133.9er Endeavor.
Yeah, so like Halloween is a Thursday, so like if they did like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think that actually makes more sense than doing a week long starting last week. You know?
Flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er 24 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to Dave.
Dave. Daylight savings on Sunday too. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. I hate daylight savings time. Or I hate normal time. Like, it gets dark at like 4 o'clock. 1600, it's dark. It's like, nobody likes it. Why is it hanging around? Literally, there's huge public support for it, and every once in a while you get a few people, and then you have some nonsense arguments like, oh, well, the kids would be out at the bus in the dark. No, they wouldn't. You know what you do? You change the schedule of the school. You don't change the schedule for everyone else. Just change the schedule of the school. You know? Or get them a flashlight. Now, Sergeant's back. Let's see. Yeah, so they change everybody's time because they can't change the school time? Nonsense. Sail control servers would be interesting.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Chicago Center on 135.9er. Good day.
Like hang glider would be the only real thing that would interest me, is doing something like a hang glider would be kind of neat.
Endeavor 49er 24. Goodbye.
Paragliders would be kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Chicago Center Endeavor
I
49er flight level tree
I
60.
doubt, you know, the sails are going to be just doing that shit. I think you'd have a built-in mast system. And I would think they'd be kind of like the nets, where you'd have to have, say, 3 net anchors and that makes the 3 points of your sail, and we'll see what happens. Again, I'm not going to speculate too much because I think it's not something I like to do. But we shall see what happens. I should change my watch to Central Time. I change it to Chicago. Why is that? That's not the right time for Chicago, is it? Where's Chicago off? 9. Yeah, it's not 2 hours off. Something's up with my watch. I'm gonna check that, see why that's off. We're coming up on top of descent here. We're headed to Leiden right now.
Chicago Center, American 29er 53 Heavy, flight level
Here you
220.
go. It used to be based out of Chicago.
American 29er 53 Heavy, Chicago Center, radar contact, continue to Mkita.
Lots of farms, lots of farms. I like the central pivot irrigations. All the circles are cool. Neat to see from up high.
129er 53 Heavy, you're 66 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 12,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 28 left approach via VOGLR transition. Clear to VOGLR. Descend and maintain 9,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 28 left approach via VOGLR transition. Clear to VOGLR American 29er 53 Heavy.
Wish there was an easy way for, like, instead of like my coffee website, to just do, it would give me Steam Wallet money. Cool if it set something up like that. Let's see.
Quarter 2387 Heavy, contact Chicago Center on
Top of the sentence soon.
127.8. Good day.
Already went through the arrival. We don't know what approach we're going to get yet, so I'm not going to worry about it yet. I'll brief it as they give it to us. It's not that much of a pain in the ass.
127.8, Porter 2387 Heavy. Goodbye. Southwest 4072 Heavy.
See where they
contact
parked
Chicago Center
IRL.
on 127.8.
And I can kind of tell where the Delta
Good
gates
day.
are. Let's see. D46. Delta 46 at the central terminal.
127.8 Southwest
Park somewhere in the central
4072
terminal.
Heavy. Goodbye.
Some things I'm looking forward to in the new flight sim is walking around your aircraft. I think walk around is nice. That helps you feel the scale of the airplane.
Chicago Center, Flexjet 39er
Especially when you sit in the
Heavy,
cockpit, like there are
9,000
things that
feet,
make you
climbing
feel like it's bigger or
16,000
smaller. But, you know, the pilots tend to be crammed as far close in their nose as possible so that you're, one, right next to each other, and two, you are close to the glass. You know, so, like, for example, this section's not much different size-wise, but behind is wider. So, like, you'll have things like extra seats, like some, like, 777 might even have a bathroom in there. Like, might have 4 seats for more crew and jump seats.
Southwest 4072 Heavy, Chicago Center altimeter 30.00 radar contact. Continue to Tinley. Endeavor 49er 24 contact Chicago Center on 127.8. Good day.
Going to 127.8 Endeavor 49er24. Chicago Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er24 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to LEDN. Chicago Center Porter 641 Heavy is passing flight level tree 80, descending flight level tree 60. Porter 641 Heavy, Chicago Center radar contact continue. Chicago Center Porter 2387 Heavy is passing 3,400 feet, climbing 10,000 feet. Porter 2387 Heavy, Chicago Center altimeter 29.97 radar contact. Continue to Tinley. Chicago Center Southwest 4072 Heavy is passing 3,500 feet, climbing 7,100 feet. Southwest 4072 Heavy, Chicago Center altimeter 29.96 radar contact. Continue to Tinley. Endeavor 49er24 contact Chicago Center on 132.5. Good day.
Constant.
Going to 132.5 Endeavor 49er24.
Porter
Chicago Center Endeavor 49er24 flight level tree 60.
Endeavor 49er 24 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to LEDN.
Lead. What if they call it lead-in because of the lead-in to Milwaukee? I don't know. See if this is Flint coming up on our right here. Yeah, that's the wrong thing. This is Chicago right there, Midway, and then Chicago O'Hare. That's Gary, Indiana. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of Gary, Indiana, not Flint. There are a lot of people who make, what do you call them? A bunch of comparisons between Gary, Indiana, and Flint. What the hell's Flint? Monroe. What the hell's Flint? I wanted Flint, Michigan. Yeah, Gary, Indiana was what I was thinking of. I said Flint, I meant Gary. Benton Harbor. Where the hell is Flint, though? Yeah, they're talking about like towns. They used to be big manufacturing towns, and I remember there was one just here in the south of the lake. 300.
Descend and maintain flight level 300 Endeavor 4924.
So pull a little power back, start slowing, go vertical speed mode here. This is the most comfortable way to do it. The speed mode's not very comfortable for the passengers. It's fine for climbing, it's a pain in the ass for descents.
Going to 127.6 Endeavor 4924.
And then I'll just manually control my thrust to keep overspeeding there. But pulling that thrust first gives you a little space. Plus, as we were talking about before, as we descend, this tape will go up.
Flight level 350, descending flight level 300.
Endeavor 4924 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to LEDN.
As the speed of sound changes with the air density. Pretty much got us right on top of the sun. That's what's nice with the trend vectors is, like, now the trend vector's a little bit down, so I can tap it up just a hair. Try to get the trend vector pretty much right behind the white bar right here so that either speeding up or slowing down, just kind of maintaining. Go ahead and put the seat belts on. Let's go ahead. What are we going to be in there in 26 minutes? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving in Milwaukee in about 30 minutes. Thank you for riding with us today. Weather is pretty clear in Milwaukee. Temperature 22 degrees Celsius, and appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, good. Passenger announcements made. All right, that is 310 for 300. We're already on altitude cap. They start to level off. I gotta give it some power to keep speed.
Endeavor 4924 descend and maintain flight level 240.
240.
Descend and maintain flight level 240 Endeavor 4924.
So the pilot flying spins everything like this if the autopilot's on. 240. Call it out, both of you. And the nice thing with vertical speed mode is because you can slowly click it up like this, you can make it nice and smooth, where speed mode tends to be aggressive, and so passengers go weightless, they get back on weight, and it's back and forth, it's not comfortable. It's better to put it in vertical speed mode, just slowly kind of get moving. Especially if you've been flying for a while, like I've lost all that, pit of your stomach, kind of like your stomach goes weightless feeling. I don't get that anymore. My ears don't really pop, so because of that, like it doesn't really bother me doing more rapid descents. But most people, you know, aren't used to it, so it ends up bothering them.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Chicago Center on 127.075. Good day.
Going to 127.075 Endeavor 49er24.
Is that Midway? That's
Rockford
is
Airport
that O'Hare?
Information Uniform 150.
What am I looking at? That must be O'Hare.
Wind 187 at 12.
Chicago Center Endeavor
Yeah,
49er24
might be O'Hare.
is at flight level
Looks like
265,
O'Hare.
descending flight level 240.
Is that O'Hare?
Endeavor
I can't tell.
49er 24 Chicago Center radar contact. Continue to MUMPR.
Where's the lake? I can only tell by the lake.
Endeavor 49er 24.
There's
contact
O'Hare
Chicago
right there.
Center
That's
on
O'Hare right there.
123.35.
I'm gonna say it's not that far from the lake.
Going to 133.35
Didn't look like
Endeavor
O'Hare. It looked too
49er
small. O'Hare's right here. Let's go. And that's O'Hare's right here. We used to come in over the lake and then you go right in O'Hare. Yeah. I was gonna say the terminal, no, not big enough for O'Hare.
Chicago Center Endeavor 49er24 is at flight level 245, descending
Midway?
flight level 240.
Pretty much all the low-cost carriers go into Midway. I've never been in Midway myself. What are we over? This has got to be it right here. DuPage, yeah.
Endeavor 49er 24 descend and maintain
12,000.
12,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet Endeavor 49er24.
So like getting the altitude started and then going vertical speed in like that, it's a good way to get it moving. All right, so I got to be pretty quick on putting in the approach when we actually get it. What's the altitude? 7. So we want about 1,050 maybe on the landing. That's close enough. All right. So I want to run this descent checklist. So landing elevation is set, fuel is checked, TCAS is set, radar is off, CAS check. Landing data is not set yet. Let's set that. All right, landing data is set. Approach briefing we will get to. So I'll hold there. Got to do the approach briefing. I don't know what approach we're going to get yet.
Airbus 0 Bravo Foxtrot, your tree 9 miles west. Descend and maintain 7,200 feet. Expect ILS runway 16 approach via Oscar Bravo Kilo transition. Clear to Oscar Bravo Kilo. Chicago Center, Piedmont 5908 Heavy, 9,900 feet. Piedmont 5908 Heavy, Chicago Center, altimeter 29.91 radar contact, continue to CHMPN. Descend and maintain 7,200 feet, expect ILS runway 16 approach via Oscar Bravo.
So the way we used to do it back in the day was I would have 2 binders of Jepson charts, and then I'd have a third thin binder, and what I would do is if we were going from LaGuardia to Milwaukee, you know, if I was based in LaGuardia, I'd leave all the LaGuardia charts in the binder, and then I would grab all of my Milwaukee charts and put it in the binder after the divider, so I'd have the 2 airports I was going to, and then in the event that I needed to, I could grab the other binders if we had to, say, divert to another airport. I might, if we have an alternate, I might put the alternate in too. I'm gonna quickly grab the weather, the altimeter setting here, 2984. So the pressure was high on the East Coast, it's low here. 2984. 2984. 2984. So if you remember, the speed was limited down to about right around 310, 305, I think. Let me look. Probably 315. when we were up at a higher altitude. Now you see it's up to 335, so you can see right here 335.
Piedmont 5908 Heavy, contact Chicago approach
Piedmont
on
doesn't have any
119
heavy.
decimal 0. Good day. Piedmont 5876 Heavy, contact Chicago Center on 127 decimal 075. Good day.
Why is this so fucked up on course? Is it? You know what it is? We have a 43 knot crosswind, so
Goodbye.
I think the game's just struggling to keep us on course with that crosswind.
127 decimal 075 Piedmont 5876 Heavy. Goodbye.
You can see how it's like trying to get back on course with the wind. Not figuring it out very well. We're coming up at 13, 12. Call it out when we get there.
Chicago Center Piedmont 5876 Heavy is at flight level 200, climbing flight level 240. Piedmont 5876 Heavy, Chicago Center radar contact, continue.
That would be 13,000 for 12,000. Watch that speed just a little bit. Crept up on it. Come on, pull back. So winds are gusting to 30, so 220 at 2-1, gusting to 3-0. So pretty gusty winds. So we might have a little bit of a ride on the way in. We expect to keep our speed a little bit high on there. Because what a gust is, it's not reliable. So you'll have the wind, then you won't have the wind. You'll have the wind, then you don't want the wind. So you want to come in a little bit fast because about half the gust factor. So we'll add like 15 knots. So the reason being that if the gust goes away, you've lost 15 knots of headwind. You might need that headwind to stay aloft. So you want to add it in so that in the event that you lose it, you don't stall out or sink really hard. But good visibility. You know, we have all the conditions where we don't need an alternate. We don't have a ceiling layer that's below 2,000 feet, and we have 10 statute miles, which beats the 3 statute miles we need for no alternate.
Airbus 0 Bravo Foxtrot, contact Chicago approach on 125.0. Good day.
Talk to flight attendant. Let them know. It's gonna be gusty. Make sure you're seated.
125.0 Airbus 0 Bravo Foxtrot. Goodbye.
They'll usually be in their seat. Over Steve.
Endeavor 49er24, descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots.
6,250.
Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots. Endeavor 49er24.
All right, 6,000.
49er24, contact Chicago Center on 133.3.
And we're going full spoilers because we got to lose speed.
Going to 133.3. Endeavor 49er24.
That is on the chart.
Chicago Center
The,
Endeavor 49er24 is at 11,700 feet,
250
descending
knots at
6,000
Trudeau.
feet.
So we have till Trudeau to slow down
Endeavor
anyway.
49er24, Chicago Center altimeter 29.87 radar contact. Continue to Trudeau.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chicago Center Endeavor 49er24
I didn't
requesting
mean to do
vector
that.
to next waypoint.
Endeavor 49er24, continue to Trudeau, turning and following heading 005, resume own navigation.
So, see, we got slowed down under 250 for 10, and then I'm just trying to keep us right at 250. I could put it in speed mode, but it's a little bit rough, so I'm just going to manually do it.
Endeavor 49er24, did you hear my last
Oh,
transmission?
come on, leave me alone.
Continue to
Yeah,
Trudeau
yes.
turning and following heading 005, resume own navigation. Endeavor 49er24.
Alright, so I'm going to start losing some spoiler. And I'm going to come up on the vertical speed here. Because we don't have that much. We only have 3,000 feet to lose here, so I don't need to be screaming down too hard. And then I'm going to go to speed mode.
United 288 Heavy, contact Chicago Center on 133.35. Good day.
We don't need to dive too hard here.
Going to 133.35, United 288 Heavy.
This is the wrong arrival, but I just did what the game said. I should have looked it up more. It's alright, they'll vector us out. I actually have it set to whatever approach they give us, but it would be nuts if they give us runway 1. That's going to be a really whipping tailwind. I do not want that. We could get one of the RNAVs for runway 25 left. See, I have the ILS programmed in, so we're already getting the ILS is receiving. We can check radio. You can see it's in there, 111.5, but I have not. I've not put it. I've not fully activated it yet. So it's 7,000, 6,000. We'll wait on the approach briefing to clear out that checklist. Milwaukee means the good land. If it's from Wayne's World, if you don't know where that comes from.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Chicago Center on 125.1. Good day.
251.
Going to 125.1 Endeavor 49er24.
This is Milwaukee runway 1.
Chicago Center Endeavor 49er24 is passing 6,200 feet, descending 6,000 feet.
Endeavor 49er 24 Chicago Center altimeter 29er.86 radar contact. Continue to TAIL.
Tail.
Endeavor 49er 24 contact Milwaukee approach on 118.0.
Frequency changes.
Good day.
Changes.
Going to 118.0 Endeavor 49er24.
So these keep saying at 250. That does not mean below 250. They want you at
Milwaukee approach
250.
Endeavor 49er
You
24
get people behind you doing
6,100 feet.
250. You're doing slower. They're going to catch up to you.
Endeavor 49er 24
Start
Milwaukee
screwing
approach
up their
altimeter
sequencing.
29er.86 radar contact. Continue to TAIL.
Tail.
Endeavor 49er 24 descend and maintain
2009.
2,900 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,900 feet Endeavor 49er24.
2009. He might be taking us into runway 1. That's going to be nuts. I'll land it, but IRL, I would not land this. Actually, you know what? Let's not fuck around. Let's, we'll spin it around. It's at 220 at, 220 at 21 knots. I'm not landing with that much of a tailwind. That's stupid. That's excessive as hell. What's our heading right now? Okay, we're actually lined up for runway 7, not runway 1. Yeah, we're lined up for 7 right, which is the reciprocal of 25 left. Yep, 25 left. Look like 25.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect localizer runway 25 left approach via Sitkey transition. Cleared to Sitkey.
Alright, Sitkey, so I had already put that in.
Endeavor 49er 24, you are 14 miles west of Milwaukee. Contact Milwaukee Tower on 124.575 when inbound on the approach.
That works for me. Just not landing with this whipping tailwind.
Tower on 124.575 Endeavor 49er24.
Alright, I gotta grab this and brief in a second here. Oh, don't call him. Okay, I was gonna say don't call him. It's for when we're inbound. Right, localizer, runway 25 from Sitkey. That's in. I'm gonna grab the chart and brief it. That would be 3009 for 2009. We're gonna do a procedure turn here. We'll just run it as a regular approach here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now
Be kind of interesting. I gotta make sure I don't push that button until we're inbound. So. All right, so we're landing the reciprocal of this runway. We're coming in towards 7 right, and we're gonna spin around for 25 left. So we're gonna go across, and then we're gonna go to Sitkey, and I'm gonna do a 45 and a procedure turn, and then we'll come back inbound. So I'll show you real quick on the map here, on the chart rather. So we're going to be coming across here. We're going to go up to Sitkey. We're going to turn 45 degrees. So it is a 076 minus 45. So 71. Let's see, 71 minus 4. So 31. So 031. And then we'll go up for a minute, and then we'll turn back in and intercept the course inbound for the localizer. Keep around 220 knots here. Good, I don't need to be screaming. All right, localizer is 111.5. Let's quickly verify that is in. Where are we at here? Radio 111.5 is in and tuned. That's good. Final approach course is 256. Minimum altitude at Fahey is 2,500. We expect glide. Well, we're not gonna. We'll have glide slope. Well, it's gonna be localizer only. There's no glide slope on this. MDA is 1,160 feet. We are already visual. We expect to do a visual approach into runway 25. We already briefed the taxi off. 2,900 up to Sitkey, then 2,005 to Fahey. From Fahey, we want to descend down to our MDA of 1,160 feet. Published mist is climb 2,800, then right turn direct BAE VOR and hold. We'll ask for vectors and we'll come back for 25 left. But let's go ahead and take a look here. Come on, give me Milwaukee, the good land right there. Alright, so that's the brief for the approach. So we can check that off the checklist. So descent checklist is complete. Alright, thrust reversers are coming up armed. Alright, and let's go ahead and let's slow down a little bit. Start flapping, a little bit of flap here. I don't want to go screaming through here too fast. Flaps coming up to 8. Now I'll go ahead and I'll put in V approach, 137 knots. We'll ride that a little bit hot just because of the gusty wind.
Tower, Southwest 874 heavy 25 miles southeast.
Go flaps 8.
Runway 25 left approach. Southwest 874 heavy Milwaukee Tower. Altimeter 29.84, wind 224 at 21. Cleared localizer, runway 25 left approach. Cleared localizer, runway 25.
Alright, so I'm going to change my heading over to 031. That's going to be my my entry for this procedure turn. It doesn't have to be a full minute, but just reading. Radar required for procedure entry. DME or radar required. We have both. We have radar contact. Plus we have GPS.
Wisconsin 54 Milwaukee Tower. Altimeter 29.84, wind 224 at 21. Cleared RNAV runway 25 right approach.
Let's go to heading.
Cessna 7 Romeo Mike, follow the aircraft on final.
Go to heading, please. Come on.
224 at 21.
We're going to stay on the protected side.
Runway 19 right.
Alright.
Cleared to land runway 19
And I'm waiting till I
right,
cross
Cessna 7 Romeo Mike.
the fix here to time out for a minute. Alright, crossing the fix now.
Cleared RNAV runway 25 right approach, Wisconsin 54.
Alright, we expect a 211 heading on the return. So it's just 180 reciprocal off of that. Did it cycle me to... It fucked me up here. It's cycled me to the mist, so that's fine. We're just not going to worry about it. I don't need the FMS for that. I could put in the arrival again, but I'm not going to. Alright, here's 45 seconds. Alright, here we go. Start slowing down a little bit. Alright, so I did a little bit of a turn there just to get us turning in the correct direction. And then I'm going to start keeping it turning to 211. I'll keep it from going the wrong direction. 211. Alright, we're on heading, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to nav source. And I'll give it a little bit of power here. So again, as we make a turn, we need more power because we're trading some of that energy to make the turn and stay aloft at our desired altitude. So we're going to lose something. We're going to lose speed. So I wanted to lose a little bit of speed in the turn, but I don't want to lose a ton. So we're going to go ahead and go to nav mode and let it capture. Actually, we'll go to approach and let it capture the localizer. You can see it's in loc 1, which means we're going to grab the localizer. All right, we're inbound, gear, flaps. And we call tower, tell them we're inbound.
Milwaukee Tower Endeavor, 49er 2418 miles east inbound localizer runway 25 left approach.
Endeavor 49er 24 Milwaukee Tower. Altimeter 29er decimal 8 tree wind 224 and 21. Cleared localizer runway 25
Good
left
approach. Alright, track arrows coming on.
Cleared localizer runway 25 left approach Endeavor 49er 24.
Just make sure track arrows set correctly. There you go. Alright, land the speed, come down. Flaps 45. So you can see the runway, see the flashing light right here, that's the runway. That's a beacon, but that's the beacon, but the runway is to the left of the beacon. It's not going to speed too much. I just want to get a little speed up here because I don't want to take forever. Alright, so as soon as we cross Sitkey, we can go down to 2005.
Clear to land runway 25 left southwest 874 heavy.
It's a real shallow grab on this localizer, but sometimes it overdoes it, so I'm not playing with it too much. Alright, flight 10's advised passenger signs are on, thrust reversers are armed, landing gear is down, 3 green, flaps are 45. Before landing, checklist complete. All right. Starting to see the runway. This far out, really not looking too much. Because it's more, you don't want to be looking at the wrong stuff. It's better to come in on the approach and then deal with it. This should be the, right here, should be the runway 25 left. We get traffic coming in and the beacon's under them. That's the beacon right there. Should be able to see on the airport diagram where the beacon is. Yeah, beacon is south of the, runway.
Cessna 7 Romeo, Mike exit runway when able.
Alright, so we're starting to get on the localizer now. The closer you get, the more sensitive it is, so since we're ways out, it's less sensitive. Alright, we can go down to 2005, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Vertical speed, zip, 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 zip. Now we got ourselves down there. So we want 2,500 at Fahey, and then after Fahey we can go down to 1,160 feet, so we'll go up down to 1,200. Can't go down to 1160, just go up a little bit. Can't go under the MDA unless you're visual and you intend to land. So it's set 1,200, that's within 40 feet. Runway's in sight. Could just run this as a visual now, but I'll continue in on the approach, just it's good practice, good fun. Alright, so we're leveling off at 2,500 at Fahey here, and then our next altitude again, 1,000, we'll do 1,200. You know, it could have kept the gear up and everything until we got to Fahey, but again, I don't have to worry about people behind us. You know, that would allow us to keep a little speed up, but it's not the end of the world. Like, I could still go up to 170 knots. I'd rather be stabilized, especially the wind's gusty.
Cessna 7 Romeo, like turn next taxiway.
So I'm going to set 1200. All right, there's 1200. As soon as we cross Fahey, I'll start heading down. We'll get on speed because we're going to be descending here, so. All right, it's Fahey.
Cessna 7 Romeo, like exit runway when able. Endeavour 49er 24 wind 224 at 21.
You're
Cleared to land runway 25 left.
Cleared to land runway 25, left Endeavour 49er 24.
All right, clear to land. That's 2,200 feet for 1,200 feet. Once we level off at MDA, I'll go ahead and, you know what, let's take over now. Autopilot's off. Okay. Yeah, we're visual, runway 25 left, cleared to land. Landing gear down, 3 green flaps are 45, clear to land. Our wind is 220, so it's going to be to our left. Pretty gusty wind. I can see how it's blowing me off course a little bit, so I'm starting to get back. So I'm kind of playing with the wind, testing the wind. Kind of aimed right at the runway, and it's trying to blow me back to the right, of course. So I'm starting to put an angle in here, and we're going to crab into the wind. So I've got a little bit of crab angle in to account for the wind. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to leave the autopilot on. Like, you could leave the autopilot on down to you know, technically 200 feet above 700, so 9 and change, but I'd rather hand fly it and feel what the wind is doing and get myself prepared for it than to just go ahead and, you know, rely on the autopilot because I don't have any feel over the airplane. I want some feel. I want to know what it's doing. This trim is going to screw me up if I'm not careful. I don't want to get a sink rate on this. I want to be clean. Yeah, see, like the trim's trying to push my nose back up. I need the nose to keep coming down. Looking good.
400. 300.
Locked in. Definitely gusty.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
And a little kick of rudder. Ooh, a little float. Little float. Caught a float there at the end. Cross reverses stowed. Take the next exit.
Endeavour 49er 24 exit runway 18.
We got a big gust of wind there right as I was touching down, and it gave us a float, so it gave us extra lift.
24 contact ground on 121.8.
So just kind of settle it, let it ride out. I believe, let's go ahead and stop right here. I gotta contact them.
Going to 121.8 Endeavour 49er24.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
Milwaukee ground Endeavour 49er24 taxi to the gate.
Endeavor 49er24 taxi to gate Echo 65 via taxiway Bravo.
Grab airport info. Bravo. I don't see a Bravo. Bravo? Bravo's the inner line. Okay. So this is the inner line right here. There's Bravo in front of us.
Taxiing to gate Echo 65 using taxiway Bravo Endeavor.
We're gonna go to
49er24.
Delta, because Delta is Delta's gates. APU's up, engine, so we'll check it real quick. Okay. Alright, so see the electricity moved over. Electricity moved over. Hydraulics, we're good. All right. Engine 2 shut down. All right, after landing, APU is on, transponder. That's not transponder. Come on, get to it. There we go. Transponder is off, slats flaps set to 0. Lights are set and probes can come off. Okay. After landing checklist complete. So when they keep saying a Cessna, they keep talking about Skyhawk. This is a Citation jet. It's likely the Citation is what what is actually up at 360, one of these Citation jets. It's not a Skyhawk. That's a CJ, a Citation jet. I think it's just the game doing silly bullshit, frankly. Now, this is Delta terminal right here. I'm looking for a place to park. I'm going to try on the inside line. I hate how in this game they have all this general aviation parked at the gates. That's pretty silly. Should be at the general aviation terminal. What about? Now we'll take a look in on this inner line and see what we have for gates. Yeah, they have so much just GA nonsense in here. It's kind of weird. Just some of those things I'd like them hopefully to fix in the next game. Like a lot of airports, it says no GA, can't even get near the gate area because the gate area is the secured area with security. And so I don't want just some unsecured GA coming in there and hanging out, you know. So they're forbidden to even go near the gates. It's like everybody on this plane, you know, would have gone through security, so. Alright, so that was a good approach. Nice to get a little gusty wind there. We actually had some reasonable gust effects there where, for example, like I had pulled the power, was looking really good on the aiming bars, and then we got hit with a gust and we floated. So, kind of cool. It's good to do that sort of stuff. Again, the difficulty is what makes it interesting. It's like if it's always cake easy, it's pretty boring.
Please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
Alright, nice. That was fun. Let's go ahead and shut down. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. Thank everybody for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.